Hi everyone, and welcome back to another crafting video. In today's video, we're gonna throw it back to January when we made our resolutions. And for me, I told myself I was going to be more productive and get things done. So to help me out with that, I'm going to make my very own to-do list. However, with this to-do list, I'm going to make it on an acrylic sheet or a board. So come along with me on this tutorial so that you can learn how to make your own to-do list. Here are the materials we will be using for this project. I have this thick piece of acrylic sheet. It feels almost as if it were a board, so sometimes I call it an acrylic board. And we are also using matte black vinyl for this project. And I actually like to use these teckwrapcraft slap bracelets to hold my rolls together. And of course we have our handy dandy tech wrap weeding tool, as well as our squeegee. And of course we're going to use the squeegee that has the felt edging. And for our mat, we will be using the standard tack mat. And my transfer tape of choice for this project is the black grid transfer tape. And it's also being held by the teckwrapcraft slap bracelets. Coming over to our Cricut design space, I decided I was going to search up pre-made images of to-do lists for this project. I ended up picking this image. I really like the font that was used for the top part of the list. However, I'm not a big fan of the squares and the lines. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with the design and see if I can find anything to replace the squares with or the lines with. However, first thing I'm gonna do in order to customize this is to contour out the unwanted items. So here I'm just clicking the things I do want to keep. Sometimes I find it easier if I just hit the button on the bottom right of that little tab that says hide all. I like to work in reverse when it comes to contouring. Here I'm searching for something to replace the squares that were part of the design. I like to use a circle, and this circle in particular I was a fan of because it has that hand-drawn effect, just like how the calligraphy font works. So I'm also going to search for the same thing when it comes to the line. And I was also able to find something that looked perfect, but also it could have been hand drawn by someone using a calligraphy pen. Once I size everything to my liking and the spacing looks just about right, I'm going to go ahead and select both of my items and group them together and just duplicate it multiple times until I get to the bottom of my page. And now we are almost done. I just wanted to align my lines together, and before we cut, we're going to make sure that we attach everything together. That way it cuts all in one piece. Now that our project is done cutting, we're going to go ahead and cut out the excess and start weeding our project. A little thing that I like to do when it comes to weeding is when I have a big piece of vinyl that I have weeded out, I actually like to keep it around for the adhesive on it, because that's where I like to stick the small pieces of vinyl that I'm weeding, because it kind of gets annoying sometimes when you have little pieces get stuck everywhere and next thing you know your sleeve is covered in tiny pieces of vinyl. Now we're going to place the transfer tape over our design. I like to use the grids as a guide as to how straight my image is, or if I notice that it's a little off center on one of the lines, I know that when I place down my design, I'm going to want to tilt it one way versus another. However, with this design and any design that you may be using, the lines on the to-do list itself is actually a guide as well. If you make sure that that last line is aligned straight and has even spacing between the bottom of your acrylic board and the last line of your list, you're gonna know that it's actually pretty even. So you're gonna want to head and slap that down and start peeling off that transfer tape. Just like that, we have the perfect acrylic to-do list for our daily use, and we can actually use a dry erase marker on this. Thank you guys so much for following along on this tutorial with me. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye!